FGM Transtastic. It's Ohan, and this week we're talking about... What are we talking about this week? We are talking about coming out to relatives, extended family, etc. And I have an interesting take, I have an interesting story, because how I came out to my relatives is I didn't. Yep, that's the best way to do it. Best way to come out is to not come out. I'm just kidding. I just was in a unique situation. I've said this before, my dad is from Iran, and so he came to the United States, but all of his other family live in France. They do speak English, but it's not their native language, and it's not the language that they're most comfortable in. So I felt really weird trying to tell people in English that I'm transgender. The whole point of coming out is to communicate as clearly as possible, and I didn't feel like I would be able to do that with my family, and we're also just not very close, literally in terms of distance, and because I don't see them a lot because of distance, and so it was kind of weird for me, and I just was hoping that my dad could kind of do the coming out for me in Armenian, in a language that both sides would be most comfortable with. He actually came out to his family later. My mom came out to her family first, but I will go backwards in time and talk about that too. So he called his family, and he told them, I don't want you to be scared, I don't want you to worry, it's nothing bad, but I have to tell you something. And then of course they got scared and worried, and they're like, what do you have to tell us? And he just said, Ohan is transitioning, and this is what's happening, and he's okay, but we just want you to know, and blah 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 blah. And I think phrased it in a pretty chill way. The reaction was that turns out that they had been doing research about transgender youth children, because my dad's sister's grandchild, so my cousin's child, I hope you follow, was born male, but I guess exhibits female tendencies or whatever that means. I don't know. He likes hair and nails and has these little sky dancer dolls and has like only girlfriends in school and stuff like that. And so they were doing their own research. I mean, it's we know that these are stereotypes, and just because you have a doll does not mean you're a girl, right? But I think just more and more things kept adding up where they were like, maybe something is going on here. So they had been doing their own research about this child, my cousin's child. And so they actually, the questions that my aunt asked my dad were actually very, very educated, very, very well thought out questions, and if anything, was using him kind of as a support and as someone else who was experiencing it to ask a lot of questions she had about somebody in her family. And so I thought that was really, really cool, because it was, not only was it met with a respectful reaction, but it was also like, oh, me too, kind of, like, I have to talk to you about this thing. And it's like, we all kind of knew that was going on with my little cousin, my cousin's child. We all knew this was going on, but they never really talked openly about it with us, and it wasn't until my dad opened up about me that his sister then opened up about what was going on with her family, which I thought was a really, really beautiful exchange. I have not seen them since I've been transitioning. The last time I saw them, when was the last time I saw them? 2012? Last time I saw them was in 2012. I had short hair, but I was still very much female presenting, so they haven't seen me in a long time. And it's just because of distance, and because it's expensive to traverse across the Atlantic Ocean, which I don't do often, so I don't see them often. What can you do? It's kind of what happens when families break up and people emigrate to different places. I think my mom was much more comfortable with it before my dad, and so she ended up coming out for me to her family before he did to his. My mom asked me, how do you want to tell everyone else, like the relatives, like, do you want to do it yourself? I want to do what's most comfortable for you, which I think was a really, really nice thing to ask. And I said I would be most comfortable if you did it. It's like, it's your family. I've done enough coming out. I have come out to so many people. I'm tired, and I just like, if you could just take this weight off of me, it would just be one less thing stressing me out. And so I really just felt most comfortable for her to tell her family. She called everybody individually, and she has a brother and a sister, and also my grandmother is still alive, so she told her mother. And I don't know what order she told everybody in, but I just know that it was met with a shocking amount of respect and just like being okay with it. My biggest piece of advice for coming out to extended family is that if you're not going to be the one who does it, if your parents are going to be the ones who do it for you, which was like in my case, it's a really good idea to wait until your parents are comfortable with it before they tell their family. I really do believe that coming out is a conversation that is so dependent on how that conversation is delivered. So if it's delivered with ease and respect, I feel like it's really unlikely that it will be received in a different way. Like, if you're freaking out about it, telling your relatives how messed up it is, then they're likely to have those same beliefs. And if you deliver it with, like, oh, this is what's happening, we didn't know, but now we understand and we're supportive and we want you to be a part of this transition and we want you to know what's going on and we're family and we don't want to hide things from you and there's nothing to hide because it's not a shameful thing and etc., etc. If you deliver it like that, or if your parent delivers it like that, it's like, how could it be met on the other side with, well, I think that's disgusting? It's like they almost feel bad. Like they're like, oh shit, like it is something I need to be supportive of, kind of. And I'm not saying it puts them in a position where they can't be upset or surprised or confused, but it's almost just like, don't freak people out about it because then they're gonna freak out about it. I also don't want to paint this picture of perfection. Like, I find a lot of the times that it's kind of funny. It's like when my parents are in the presence of other people and their friends, they're more likely to use my chosen name and pronouns than when it's just our family, our immediate family unit. I think because there's just more of a sense of comfort when we're all together, and that's when the brain kind of just goes to its programmed way of thinking more. It's not like anybody's being malicious and evil or like trying to just be respectful because other people are around. It's more of just like there's more of an awareness when other people are around, and when we're just together as a family unit, it's more of a natural way of speaking, and it just they just slip out more. These things take time. I think that's the most important thing to remember is that these things take time. I came out to my parents 3 years ago, and it wasn't until months ago that they told their families. So that's a long time. And everybody becomes comfortable at their own pace. It's I think the worst thing you can do is rush it if you're not ready or if your parents aren't ready to share what's going on. Don't do it. Do whatever you want, whatever. You don't have to listen to me. Just wait until there's at least some sense of comfort. It's impossible to be prepared for every question, but it is good to have resources and 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 kind of set yourself up for a successful conversation. I wish everybody the best. Coming out is hard and it sucks and it's scary. All of you are just brave and strong, and I love you. And please hit me up if you need help, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.